Welcome to another episode of Scottish Football Matters with myself, Murray, and my good friend Lorenzo.
Hello.
Um, this week we're going to review all the weekend's action in the league and cup, and obviously including the Monday night football. And after that, we'll have a little chat about Kilmarnock, obviously sacking Stuart Kettlewell, and then we'll do a prediction for the Celtic midweek game and then all of the weekend's games. So, how's things?
I'm all right, mate. Aye, just
Aye,
obviously apart from Sunday, but
aye. We'll
I'm all
get
right.
there. We'll get there. But I think best place to start is Saturday. First one up, Dundee United Motherwell. I thought it was a fair result, bit of a drab game. I think at this time of year, you take points in those sort of games where I don't think
Aye.
either side played well enough to win, but I don't think either side played bad enough to lose either. So
hmm
I think it's probably a fair result. There was no major talking points other than the fact that it's just a point for Dundee United and they've been on a bit of a bad run.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I'm hoping
Motherwell
that
just,
they're as bad as that tomorrow
uh,
night, but we'll just need to wait and see.
yeah. But again, it's another good result for Motherwell away from home. Point. Even when Motherwell aren't at their best, they seem to pick up a point. And that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
if we move on to the other afternoon game, Livingston Dundee, 2-2. Um, Dundee obviously started very, very well,
hmm
scoring a couple of early goals. I thought the first goal, I said the ball into the back post at Congreve scored. I thought that was a really decent goal.
Yeah.
Um, but Livingston were actually unlucky to be 2-0 down. They actually, I felt, played the better stuff and
Uh-huh.
deserved a point in the game. And the only other real talking point was probably the red card, which is a definite red card. I can't argue that one.
It
But
was
it's a clever
too late
foul.
in the day to affect their outcome anyway. It was far too late in the
But it's
day
a
to affect the
clever
outcome.
foul because if he's going through on goal in the 96th minute, they could lose that game. And losing a game to a team that you would say are going to be down with Livingston,
hmm
that could have really hurt them. So I think it was a really good foul because if that boy goes through it, finishes 3-2, you
hmm
know, although Livingston would lose a point, but Dundee would gain three. And,
He's took one for the team there, hadn't
that's.
he?
Uh, so I think it was a clever one by McCowan. But I thought Livingston more than merited the point. I thought they were really decent. Without playing good stuff, they do create chances. They're a strange, strange team because you look at them and they're not that pretty on the eye, but they're not as turgid as they used to be. But they don't get enough chances. But actually, in this game, I felt they got a lot of chances and were probably unlucky not to win the game. But
Yeah.
I think it's a good point for Livingston because
Mm.
of how they've been, and they now need to start turning a point into three and
Well, they're
starting
bottom of
to
the league,
get
so
well.
can they do
But
that?
they're
Can they
only,
turn that around to two wins rather
but,
than draws?
but that's the thing. They're only 3 points behind Kilmarnock and four behind Dundee.
hmm
So, and we know, as you all know, over that festive period, you're going to get games
A lot of
every three
games.
days.
A lot of
They
games.
could pick up two wins in that time, and all of a sudden they go for 12th to 10th. But at the
hmm
same time, the teams above them could pick up wins and they could drift it away. But
Yep.
I, I still don't know between the bottom three. I think it will be the bottom three, but I don't know in which order. I
hmm
think Livingston, Kilmarnock, and Dundee will be at the bottom. Saturday night's game. We'll firstly talk about the early goal. Excellent strike by Shrankland. Good striker play to follow up by
hmm
Braga.
Braga.
I'm going to jump ahead to the second half and just commend Cochrane's second goal because Kingsley. I got
Kingsley.
Cochrane
He was a sub as well.
there.
He came off the
Uh,
bench.
um, Kingsley scores an absolute belter, right? And it's probably the goal of the weekend. But in between that, there's a talking point because I can't for the life of me understand why it's not a penalty to Falkirk and a yellow card
Yep.
for
The
the boy.
handball on the line.
Because like all the other ones we've seen this year with Ralston and other ones where
hmm
it isn't deliberate, but it is stopping a ball
It
going
stopped a
towards
goal.
the goal.
It stopped an actual goal
And
because it
that
was getting
one
into
was
the net.
literally stopping a goal.
hmm
And I just can't understand in what world. But that's why everyone gets so frustrated with
Just shows you
Scottish football, the
how
officials, and
rubbish
everything.
it is.
Because you know, one week you're getting something like that, it's not a penalty and nothing, and then the next week you'll be getting one. I mean, Dundee United had one similar right this season where it was a red card and a penalty. And it was a terrible decision because I just said, "Oh, fair dues on the penalties." I remember saying it at the time, but I said,
Hmm.
"How's he meant to get out the way of that?
Yeah,
Like, it's not."
it's just
I
far
think
too
the yellow,
inconsistent. Far too
yeah,
inconsistent.
and but fair play to Hearts. They dealt with the conditions well because it was a terrible weather night on Saturday night, and I think that actually ruined the game as a spectacle because I think Falkirk are actually a really decent team, but I don't think they could really get going with the wind and the
Because of the
rain,
weather.
and it just it
Yeah,
was one of those games that it suited Hearts more for the style of football that Hearts play.
hmm
But you've got to credit Hearts when they win. They've obviously had a bit of a poor run, and then got the win against Celtic and backed it up, and we'll see if they can back
yeah.
up again on Sunday. But we'll get to that one. If we move on to obviously Sunday, we'll talk about the league game first. So I don't think there's as much talking points in that. But Kilmarnock will be really disappointed because I think that's like 3 or 4 times this season where they've been in the lead and sort of thrown
hmm
it away.
Aye.
And they're 1-0 up, looking quite comfortable. And then, fair play to Aberdeen, they got the equaliser. And then the penalty is just, it's so soft. But if we're going by the rules of crazy handballs where they don't mean them, then it's a penalty. But how you can argue, how they can say that that's a penalty, but the one against for
One
Hearts
with
isn't. I mean, it's
Falkirk,
just,
I know.
it's, aye.
It's
But
madness.
because all the guy does is, I think it's is it Lyons, he jumps up and it just brushes his hand. He's not done it, and I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those ones that I think we need to start using common sense, especially at corner kicks and stuff, where you are jumping up and you're trying to head the ball, and it could brush off somebody and then onto your arm, and it's just like that's not, it's not doing it, and it's really
hmm
stopping a goal. Or I just think next season we really need to look at all the penalties and go, come
As we
on.
said to each other earlier in an earlier pod, we need to get back to was it deliberate? You need to go with
Aye.
deliberate handball, and that's it.
But but obviously it's cost Kettlewell his job as well, and I think
It's not just that
I'm
game
not
though.
saying no, it isn't. But there has been some. I don't think he's a bad manager. I always felt that Kilmarnock wasn't a good fit for him.
hmm
I think he's the sort of manager that needs a patient fan base. I don't think
And
you
he only
get that
took
down
over.
at
He only took
Kilmarnock.
over in the summer, didn't he? He's only been there
Aye,
since like the summer. Yeah,
but
because
it'll be
he replaced
interesting to see
McInnes.
who gets the job because I've seen a couple of names like Peter Levin, who was, I think he was interim at Aberdeen at one point,
Aberdeen. He done all
and
right with Aberdeen.
yeah, and he obviously used to play for Kilmarnock, so that could be a shout. Stephen Naismith's been mentioned. I know he's happy at Scotland as an assistant, but
Did
obviously
he know?
he
Did
played
he
for
know manage
Kilmarnock at the
Kilmarnock
start of
before?
his, no, just Hearts.
Just Hearts.
But he obviously was a Kilmarnock player
Hmm
before he joined Rangers
Yeah.
in his early days, and oh, you would have to say if they asked him, I think he would find it hard to turn them down
The Scotland
because
job's just a part time one though. I mean, it's not required
I
at
know,
Scotland all the time.
and also the fact
So
is he's not really required until the summer. Let's be
that's
honest,
right.
no one really cares about these
Because
friendlies
we've
and
got the friendlies
Hearts.
coming up. Yeah.
Aye. But he'll still do them. Do you know what I mean? You can still
Yeah.
be there and be part of it, maybe
Well, it's
just
just
not
warm up
as.
games.
I think Naismith would be a good shout because I think he's the sort of guy who, being an ex Kilmarnock player, he could maybe get that wee bit extra out the players because
hmm
obviously we're not talking about Kilmarnock having a great deal of legends, but you know Naismith was a really really good player for them, and I think that the players at the club would start playing for him, and he seems like the sort of guy he seems like a decent guy, like not
hmm
a like one. And I think it'd be either one. I think it would be a good choice, Leaving or Naismith. But we'll
Right.
see. We'll see what comes of it. Do you want to talk about Monday Night Football and then we'll do a full cup final one? Because I think there's
Yeah.
more in that. Because to be
Yeah.
totally honest with you, the Rangers game last night was guff. it was.
I never
It
seen it
wasn't
because
a
it
great.
wasn't on the telly, and I don't have that. I don't have
Uh,
the
it, it
dodgy. stuff.
What I would say is it wasn't a great game of football, but Rangers done enough. Dujon Sterling was probably man of the match in terms of he clears one off the line in the first half. It
Hmm.
puts the cross in for Fernandez's goal. And what I would say is it's very strange, right? Because we've played Hibs twice, right, in the league. We've also beat them in the cup, but we've played them twice in the league and won 1-0 and 1-0, right? And I don't think we've played particularly well in either game.
Hmm.
But we've played Dundee United twice, right? And I think we've played really well in both games and coming out with two draws. And it just shows you how strange football is that
Hmm.
I think Rangers have played well enough to get 4 or 6 points against um, Dundee United, but they've probably
Hmm.
only played well enough to get about 2 points against Hibs because they've been crap games. But Hibs, again, they just don't score goals against the big teams.
No,
I mean,
but
I think,
if it'd been
as
at
we
Easter
said,
Road, they might have got something out of the game. If it'd been at Easter
but
Road, who
even
knows?
even there, we got a 1-0. They've just
Hmm.
they just seem. I mean, I think they've only scored one goal against, Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell, or Hearts, and it was a penalty against Hughes, which was never a penalty, but that's
Ah.
by the by. But
Hmm.
even still, it's not a goal from open play. It's not. I don't know what it is with Hibs because I watch them and they play good football. They create chances, but when they play the bigger teams, something's not clicking.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Hmm.
And I hope it starts to click because we could do with them beating Hearts over Christmas.
Well,
But
exactly. Exactly.
but I don't know what it is because I do think David Gray's a good manager. But I think on to Danny Rule, he's done all he can really. 8 games in the league, won 6, drawn 2. We haven't played particularly well in any of them.
Hmm.
Maybe Dundee aside, I thought we were quite good at Dens, actually. I thought we were okay in spells at Kilmarnock, but it's just about getting wins, and you know that now because it could transition to Celtic. If you compare the Martin O'Neill games, he didn't play particularly well, but he's
That's
got
right.
results, and I'm sure
Hmm.
that you can see parallels in what Danny Rule's doing to what Martin O'Neill was doing.
Yep.
He's obviously getting every inch that he can out of the players, and it just shows you that when you get a manager who's not them, i.e., Russell Martin and Wilfried Nancy, I think they too overcomplicate football, and there is glaring similarities. And I
Yep.
know Celtic fans don't want to admit it, but there is glaring
No, I
similarities
can see
between
that. Can see that.
how the players, who are clearly good players, clearly talented players, look confused. But if we transition on to
Yeah.
Celtic, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to praise St Mirren because I thought they thoroughly deserved their win, and
Hmm.
congratulations to them for winning the cup. Because I don't want to make this all about Celtic lost the cup final. They turned up and they won it. They wanted it more and
Yep.
they just played better. But on to Celtic, I have to say I'm utterly baffled, and I don't want to get at the manager because he's only been in 3 games.
Yeah.
But
That's my
some of the
opinion. I'll get to
decisions,
that shortly.
some of the decisions I'm finding is baffling.
Hmm.
I seen James Forrest playing centre midfield. I seen Dyson Maeda playing in the 10 position.
I think he had Ralston
What
playing at
in
centre back as well.
and Liam Scales was like a winger, right?
Uh-huh.
What in the hell is going on, right? You have players that play certain positions.
Hmm.
He's trying to play McCowan at wing back.
This
That's
is
not
the
going to
thing
work.
as well. This is the thing as well that I don't like about him in general. He's come out and said that he wants each player to play in two positions. That's impossible. You cannot have that. You can't have a centre
Not
half playing in
impossible,
centre
but
midfield, but it's no normal.
no, but it's good to be able to cover it. But you need players like everyone needs uh, a Dujon Sterling, right, who can
But
play
which
across
centre
the back
back can
line.
play in centre
Or
midfield? Have you ever known a centre back to play in centre midfield?
I can't well Beckenbauer back in the day, but in terms of I mean, I know John Suter used to do it for Hearts, but he was never as good in midfield. It didn't
Hmm.
really work. And I know Gogic, to be fair, Gogic done it the other day. He stepped into midfield for Hibs, but to me, I I think a good idea if you're gonna, I think it's okay to have centre backs who can play fullback because it's good to be able to win a back three or
Hmm.
just to be able to shut up shop and defend. But for me, the biggest thing is he's tied to this 3-4-3, right? That because I
He's
looked
so
at the
rigid,
team, right?
it never moves
I
for it.
looked at the team and I thought, oh, he's been.
I
He's
thought it was
been
a back
smart.
four.
He's going with a back four.
Hmm.
And
I
then I
thought that.
watched the start of the game and I went, it's not a back four at all. What the hell is he doing? And the thing is, he's playing players who just aren't capable.
No, exactly.
Like, and by the way, there's two players that deserve an exception to all the abuse that Celtic got on Sunday. Because I thought Kieran Tierney and Kelechi Iheanacho were actually pretty good.
They took Tierney off, and Tierney was actually doing
I
all
didn't
right.
understand that. I thought he was playing well, and I
So did
thought
I.
Iheanacho was really good until he got the injury.
Aye.
But aside for that, McGregor tries, right? He tries. You can't ever fault his effort, but it
Hmm.
just wasn't happening for him. But there's
You
other
just,
players there, like what's Hita? I know Hitati scores a peach, right? But
aye.
what is he doing? Why is he marking a big 6'4" fullback,
It's
right?
the manager. So that's on the manager. It's the manager's tactics.
And what was he doing at the second goal? It's just laziness. He's so far back and plays them all on side.
Got to talk about the
And
goalkeeper as well. I think the goalkeeper's done.
well, but I don't think he was at fault particularly for
He was
the
at fault for
goal. I
a couple
mean,
of the goals.
he
Second and
could have
third
come
one.
out a bit quicker for the
He
second
might have,
one.
even the first one, he could have maybe have done better at the first.
No,
Who knows? But
I think that's a good header. To be
that
fair,
is
I
a good
think you're
header.
looking
But
more at what you'd say if you're criticising Celtic on the first goal was the setup and who's marking who.
mhm.
Because I think the header goes right in the corner, and you've got to say no keeper should be making that save. But I do agree that I think he sort of flaps at the second one. He
Yeah.
doesn't react quick enough.
Hmm.
But to be fair, I think it's an incredible ball in by Gogic. I have to say that outside
That
of
is
the right foot.
it was a good ball. Aye.
The third
But
one, it's 1-on-1, and he's about 6 yards out. Do you expect your keeper to really save them though? I mean, it's great when they do, but
no, but
I'd be
we'll
more
never know how
concerned
good
about the
this other
fact that
goalkeeper is
one.
if he never gets a chance.
I see that, but I've been more concerned about the fact that one simple pass took out your whole team,
Of
and
course,
Declan John was essentially through on goal.
definitely. Aye.
I'd say that was more of a concern than the goalkeeper, but I don't think he's been good this year.
No.
But
But
I thought, if I don't want to be harsh, but like Engels was terrible. Maeda again, it's just he's
well, he's getting
not a
played out of position.
footballer.
He's
Like
getting
he
played out of
can't
position.
do it in that. He's a player that can play on the wing. He can
He should be on
occasionally
the wing.
play through the middle. He can play through the middle against a certain type of team, right?
Put it this way,
Against
for
a team
me,
that play a high line.
he's better on the left than Tenecchia, so he should be there before Tenecchia all day long.
But he's even ruining Taneki by trying to make him play right wing back. I mean
I
that
know, and he's not a wing back either.
he's a winger who should be
Aye, but he's
playing in
not
a
a wing
front
back.
three.
Exactly.
Yeah, a wing back. I mean, if you're going to play wing backs, I've said this like, since you come in, you play Donovan there because
Aye, he had.
Donovan is comfortable on the ball and good going forward.
I'm pretty sure against Roma. I know we weren't going to beat Roma anyway, but any manager probably when you beat Roma if they were at Celtic. But I'm pretty sure he had Hatate in the front three. Hatate doesn't he play in the
Yeah,
front three?
but he did that against Hearts as well. It was
I know.
Hitati and Negrin were just off the straight off Maeda, but Maeda's not good enough to play up on his own because you need to have those Iheanacho type skills
Mhm.
to hold up the ball and lay it off.
I know he's injury prone in actual, but he's got such skill on him. See, he bring the way he brings the
It's
ball
his
down, and
effort though.
it
I
can.
think it's the energy and stuff that
It's
he
just a
gives
shame
because
that
I
he's
thought
so
he
injury
just.
prone.
Do you know what? I could say the
Uh,
same thing about Dujon Sterling at
mhm.
Rangers. If only he was fit, you just be like, you've
Mhm.
got a you want to watch. But
But for
I
me,
just think that he doesn't have the players to play the system that he's
yeah.
trying.
But the thing is, for me, Murray, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not in the minority here because I've seen a good few Celtic podcasts since Sunday, and they're all saying the same thing. They just don't think he's got it to be Celtic manager. The players look absolutely lost. They look clueless. He looks clueless. He doesn't know what to do. He's like a rabbit caught in the headlights. I don't think he gets it. He doesn't get the club. He doesn't get Scottish football. He
I
basically,
agree.
to me, I think he's only got tomorrow night to save his job. And if he loses tomorrow night, for me, I'm
I
done.
think he's got till the third, if I'm honest, just because of how quickly the games come up. Because you've got
Fair enough,
Wednesday,
but
Saturday.
I
What
wouldn't
have you
give him
got?
the
Like
window
it's like a Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday type thing. Um,
because what will happen in the window is the guy that recommended him was Tisdale. So we want to get Tisdale's recommendations for players. I don't think so.
I mean, the thing is, and I don't want to harp on about it, but because I've seen it in real life, I've watched Russell Martin. It's just eerily similar. The confusion on the players' faces. I mean,
Hmm.
I watched Cal McGregor look like
Hmm.
he was just lost. I've seen the same thing with James Tavernier at the start of the season. I mean, look at Nico Raskin get bombed out of our team because he quit, because he basically turned around and said his tactics are shite.
But
Like
I heard Liam
this
Scales.
isn't going to work.
I heard Liam Scales come out and say that the manager is wedded to this formation that he picks.
You should never be. You should
He never
never.
goes
No.
away from it. And you can't see if you've not got the players to play in that formation. Don't play that formation. That's
And
that simple.
it is quite similar to obviously what Ruben Amorim's tried to do at Man United. And don't get me wrong, like their game last night was a hell of fun to watch, right? But
Hmm.
I'm sure every Man U fan would have preferred a Rangers type game last night where they
I
won
don't want
1-0.
that though. See Celtic, see this. Like I know that
Mm.
we're losing goals, we're shipping goals like anything. But I don't want to win a game 4-3 or 5-4. I'd rather we win the game 5-0 or 3-0 or 3-1. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be as close as that all the time.
No, I know, but you don't mind. But then sometimes you don't. You'd rather win a 1-0
Of
and
course,
just
aye.
know that you did enough. And sometimes you go away thinking, oh, we got away with one
Well,
there,
look,
but that's all
under
right
Martin
because
O'Neill,
you
that
can take
happened a
that
few
on.
times because
Dundee.
we beat
Uh,
Dundee 1-0. We beat St Mirren 1-0
yep,
and with the last kick of the ball. We didn't play great in any of the games, but we got the win, and that's the most important thing.
exactly. And I just said that about the two Rangers games against Hibs. I don't think we've played particularly well in those games, but we've got 6 points.
Hmm.
Whereas I think we've played pretty well against Dundee United and came away with 2 points. There's there's a way to play football. That Scottish football's so unique. You, especially when you're at Rangers and Celtic, it's just about winning,
That's
and
all you
that's
need to do is
all that
win.
matters.
Doesn't
And
matter how pretty it is. You just need to get the victory.
and obviously we're going to go on to the weekend predictions, but you look at like Celtic. I'm not going to go too far ahead, but Celtic's next 5 games are away to Dundee United, home to Aberdeen,
Mhm.
away to Livingston, away to Motherwell, home to Rangers. Right
Rangers. Mhm.
now, in general, you would look at those games and go, I'm expecting Celtic to, win 4, maybe draw the
S-
Old Firm, right?
Yep, exactly. The toughest
But
one you
right
would
now,
expect to be the Rangers game. That would be the
and
toughest one for me.
Motherwell away would be tough.
Possibly. Aye.
But right now, I'm looking at those games thinking, right, okay, who can I see them beating? Right, Dundee
I
United
can't
and
see them beating
Livingston are the
anybody.
only two. I can't. I'm at the
Can't even
moment.
see
I'm
them
not
beating
even sure
Dundee
he's beat
United.
Aberdeen. Do you think
I
he's even
can't.
beat Aberdeen?
No,
They're playing well and grinding out results.
I don't.
And then I
No,
look at
no,
Rangers
no in this current
fixtures. We've
setup.
got
No, the setup.
we've got away to Hearts, home to St Mirren, home to Motherwell, home to St Mirren, away to Celtic. Now that's tough as well because you get the two teams above us
Hmm.
away. But you're just like if see if, and I mean it's a massive if, but if Rangers can win on Sunday against Hearts and take that into the 2 games at home of the festive period
Hmm.
and get 9 points going into that derby, I'm all aboard the title race ain't over.
The, the
Like, do you
worry
know what I mean?
for
Because
the worry for me though, you're saying it gets to the 2nd of January or the 3rd, whatever the game is.
no,
I don't see that because if we lose against Dundee United and or lose against Aberdeen, for me the league's finished, and you
it's not
can't keep them.
finished because it's
No, but you
everything's
can't. It's
salvageable
salvageable as long as you get rid of them. You can't keep them, or it won't
yeah,
be salvageable.
but this is the same thing that Rangers fans were in. Rangers knew
I don't
early
see
on
any
that Russell
positives for
Martin
any of
wasn't
the
right,
games that he's
but
played
the
in.
board. I actually thought for 50 minutes after St Mirren scored, I thought Celtic were quick. When maybe not after they scored,
Uh,
it was after you created a chance. Was it the Ian Acho at the back post or
Aye,
something? Keeper made a good save, and for about 10, 15 minutes, you played well.
but we're all right. But we've done
But
that
you
against
always
Hearts for the
looked.
first 20 odd minutes as well and fell away. Sorry,
I don't
you
think you've.
can't play football
Uh,
for 20 minutes and then chuck it.
but that's what I'd say is that the most galling thing for me is that when Celtic have had a major setback, they've just fallen apart because up until Hearts scored against Hearts, right, these were actually pretty good, right?
Hmm.
Not great in terms of creating chances, but good enough.
Yeah.
But you fell up. You didn't. You weren't even a part of the second half, right? You weren't even. And then against Roma, you were just terrible in the whole
Well,
game, really.
the second half was a non-event
Second half,
because
you
we
upped it a wee
3-0.
bit, right? And then you scored when you're 1-0 down. You played okay, but then second half, I don't even think Celtic came out. Like
Well, against
Like,
St Mirren,
honestly, I mean, aye, they were just
I
terrible.
definitely it was the second half was completely a write off.
I don't
Yep.
even, and but that tells me that there's a manager
It's
isn't
not good enough.
motivating the players, because I've seen very similar things with Rangers. We were playing in wee bunches, so like for 20 minutes we were good, and then you go in at half time and go, right, okay, right, we take this on to the second half, and then just meh. And there was a game against Livingston, which I'm sure you'll remember when Rangers played. It was one of the few games that Russell Martin won, but we were 1-0 up, cruising in the first half. You're going, right, okay, I can see signs here, right? And Russell
Hmm.
Martin talks to them, and it just falls off a cliff. And it took a 90th minute fluke goal to win the game. But the amount of times I've seen that Rangers were in winning positions or were looking good for a wee bit, like against Falkirk, that's another good
Aye.
example in his last game. 1-0 up. I haven't played well, but you're 1-0 up. All right, let's take it on. Russell Martin talks to them at half time. Falkirk dominate the second half. And there's
Yeah,
just too
mental.
many very glaring similarities. But if we move on to obviously the predictions,
Hmm.
I think the first place to start is obviously tomorrow night, Dundee United Celtic. Oh God, it is actually a tricky one, because in normal circumstances, when Celtic have lost three games, right, you'd
Hmm.
be backing them to, they'll fight back.
Or they'll take their anger out on a team eventually at some point, you know what I mean, and win
Yeah,
5-0, but
and
I
I
can't see that.
and I think they will fight back tomorrow, but I don't think it'll be enough.
I
I
think we'll
think it's
score,
going.
but I think they'll score as well.
I think it's going to be 2-2. I just think that Celtic's defence looks too leaky,
It's not good enough then. It's not good enough. He has
but
to
I
win
don't
tomorrow
know.
night for me. If he doesn't win
Yeah,
tomorrow night, then for me it's curtains near enough.
yeah,
I'm sorry, but
yeah.
I know that you give managers time, but as I said,
I know. But sometimes you
I've
need.
seen all the games that he's played as he's had as manager, and I don't see anything to make me look and
Well, put it
go,
this
oh,
way:
that's
if Rangers had
something
made
could
the
happen here.
decision, if Rangers had made the decision on Russell Martin after three games, and they'd got Danny Rowland, do you think Rangers would be sitting third right now?
No,
I think we'd be up there challenging,
Nicky Haynes out here, Joe.
because I know I've seen that, which is
Huh?
just a massive surprise.
I know,
Because
but
who cares about your
I'd
Champions
have
League
waited
performances?
and I'd have went
Like
for him because he's got knowledge of
any
European football and he looks a good manager.
managed in Wales, I know, which
Huh?
is
Well,
such a rarity in football.
he looks a good manager to me,
Yeah,
but
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 maybe you just need to just go, like, we've made a mistake. Let's try and fix it. It's got
they have to hold their hands up
problem is that
and they got it wrong.
the problem is that I just see Celtic, if they do hold their hands up, that it will be about March time, and
Oh,
then they'll end
you
up
can't
bringing
leave it as
in
late
a,
as that. The league's finished then.
Maguire again, or a Scott Brown or something like that.
Oh,
Honestly,
it's
I
just
just don't know. I mean, this guy's probably on a decent contract, and are they just going to want to just go?
2.5 years, but I'm imagining there has to be something within the contract that if he is rotten, they can
Yeah.
pull the plug. There has to be something like that. If it doesn't work,
So
then they can
what
get
is
rid
your
of him.
prediction for tomorrow then? So what are you going to go?
I'll, I'll go 2-1 Celtic. 2-1.
Right, on to the weekend. We've got Dundee United against Hibs. That's a really tricky one, because
Well, depending on how they
Dundee
go in
United
tomorrow night
start.
against
Aye,
us.
aye. But in Hibs, they tend to do okay against the non big teams.
Hmm.
I'm probably gonna go one each on that one. But I think it's difficult to predict it before I see how they do tomorrow.
Hmm.
I think that's why I'm just gonna go with Hibs lost. I think they'll do better and they'll get a draw. And I think Dundee United might just
Is it Tannadice, isn't it?
get a draw. Tannadice, aye. Both
Aye.
games are at Tannadice.
Right, right. I could see it being a draw, but you know, I could maybe see Hibs sneaking it as well. Because Dundee
Yeah,
United, as we've obviously predicted, or no predicted, we've seen and we've said before that they're a kind of Jekyll and Hyde team. You never
yeah,
know what's going to turn up. So,
yeah. I don't know why I'm predicting two draws for them, but I just am. I think it's because they can be Jekyll and Hyde within matches as well,
yeah.
rather than just week to week. Kelly Falkirk's an interesting one, because on paper you would say Falkirk are going to win that game,
But
but if
are Kelly
Kilmarnock
going to
get a
get
new
a new
manager in,
manager
if they get
bounce?
someone in time, then they could get that new manager bounce.
Hmm.
And do you know, I'm going to go. I'm
What's
gonna go
that? What's a
1
new
0.
manager bounce? I don't know what that is. Celtic don't have that. Didn't get that.
Ask Rangers
We
fans, we
we
know
did we
about
did we didn't get
that.
that.
We did. Eh, I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
1-0 Kilmarnock. I think they will get it. I think they'll get a sometimes even when you get an interim guy in charge, like with Martin O'Neill, he just people start listening more. You just get a wee tune, and I think
I think you might be right.
I
I'll say
don't know
two
why.
one.
I
Come
think I'm
on,
going to take.
I'll go
I'm
2-1.
going to take Kilmarnock to edge it. Motherwell Dundee. I'm actually going to go 4-0 to Motherwell. I just think Dundee are just not good away from home. I know
Mm-hmm.
they picked up a couple of goals against Livingston, but the amount of times Livingston opened them up, I was like, imagine if that was a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine. And I think Motherwell are a good team. And I think if you give Masmaniche players like that the room that, lesser strikers like Yenge and Bukali were getting,
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, I think Motherwell I'm going to say 4-0.
Four, I'll go. Motherwell. I don't think they'll score as
Okay.
many as that, but I think they will win the game.
St Mirren Livingston is a tricky one because the St Mirren players might still be pished. Because the amount of drinking I think I've seen from people from Paisley. Do you know what? I'm going to go with a 1-1 just because often when a team wins a cup, there is a wee sort of there's a wee drab
Mm-hmm.
display after it, and I think Livingston might take something from the two each that they got against Dundee, and I think I'm going to go one each. Just a feeling.
You possibly could be right there. There
Yeah.
could be a wee hangover from the cup final. But then they could have
Of
that wee bounce in their step because they won the cup.
course they could, aye.
Um,
But
I'll say, well, all right, I'll go 1-0 St Mirren, 1-0, because it will not be a great game.
right,
I think they'll just edge it.
right. On to the Sunday. Celtic Aberdeen. Do you know what? This is where I think Nancy gets his first win. I'm going to
Right.
say 2-1 to Celtic. I just think that apart from that cup final, Aberdeen tend to be pretty shit against you, and I don't know why. I think you are just. I think maybe it's just the. Well, I know that this isn't the same managers, but Celtic's sort of intensity in
Mm.
games tends to scare Aberdeen. Um, I don't know. I just think with that one, I think this is where Nancy gets a
You
win
think
and
he
maybe
gets it?
gets a wee bit of time. But by the way, the game's over. Christmas and New Year
Mm-hmm.
do not help him because you follow that up with trips to that horrible plastic pitch of Livingston and then Fir
Yeah.
Park,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think he wins those games
I'll
on current form.
I'll go with my
I'm going to
heart,
say,
saying I'm going. Well, go on, you go. What are you going to say?
yeah, I'm just saying, I think 2-1 Celtic. I just think they'll do it.
I think they'll win. My heart's going to rule my head here because I obviously think we'll win the game because I want them to. Um,
Also, if you think they're going to win on Wednesday, then they could take that in.
well, hopefully,
You know,
that's the
that's
idea.
that's where it makes more
Um,
sense to go with it.
I'm going to stick my neck out here. I'm going to go 3-1 Celtic. But at the same time,
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get beaten because of what's
Right.
been happening.
No, I think a lot of it will depend on how the result
How
does
how,
go
how
tomorrow.
Wednesday night?
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
And you might laugh at me, right? I strangely fancy Rangers to win at Hearts, even though right we have barely any centre backs. Clinton and Ciala is probably going to have to play, but you know how sometimes you get those kind of injury crisis moments that
Hmm.
everyone goes, "Oh, we're going to lose," and then it kind of comes together and you do all right.
See, in
Like
a way,
I
I'm like
just get a
that.
feeling
Do we want you to win? I'm
you
thinking,
probably do. You probably
as
do
long as we win,
because obviously you've got us in a few weeks where you can
I know.
rectify Rangers winning 3 points. Whereas
Hmm.
if Hearts keep winning, you just don't play
I
them
know.
again till
So we're needing
March
them
or whatever.
derailed for a wee while.
Uh,
Plus, we've
I
got the
just
game in hand on Wednesday, and then we've got another game in hand for obviously no playing at the weekend with the cup final.
I
So,
also just think Danny Rose kind of got onto something with this back five, and I don't think it will suit how Hearts want to play because Hearts tend to want teams to attack them, right? So they can
mhm.
get that open space. But Rangers are probably just going to sit there and go on then, break us down, and obviously use people like Mike and Moore, Gassama on the counter attack. And I think Rangers could counter attack their way to a victory. And I'm going to
Yeah.
say Hearts 1, Rangers 3.
Oh, all
I
right,
think
three
we're
one.
going to. I think we're going to find. I think we're just going to counter attack them and pick them off.
I never ever thought I'd
The
hear my.
third goal might be like a last minute or something. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. I never ever thought I'd hear myself say this. I think that Rangers might win 2-1. There you go. I
Yeah,
never thought I'd predict a
it's,
Rangers victory, but
I know
in a
it's just a
way,
feeling
we're
though
having it.
in
We're
this
needing
game
it
though.
happening. If Rangers win, then that kind of cancels out the game we played Hearts. If the game
Yeah,
that they beat us, basically that will
but
cancel that
also
game
the
out.
fact is,
As long as we
and I
win,
know you don't want it to happen, but if Rangers do win
we
and
don't.
Celtic won't, it really bundles it all together
I
because obviously
know
you still have a game in hand over Hearts,
we've got two
and
at the
so do
minute.
we.
We've
Aye,
got two,
you've got
obviously,
well,
until tomorrow. We've got two. Aye,
yep,
once.
you've got
Aye,
two.
we've
We've
got.
still got one against Aberdeen
Aye.
to play, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Rangers are gonna not in the same way that you kind of felt like Hearts were going to win at Ibrox,
Uh-huh.
and that sort of way that Rangers were just a wee bit all over the place, and I just think that Danny Rule's kind of. I'd actually worry more if we were at home to them because I think they could pick us off.
Mm, yeah.
But I think away from home we can just sit in there and go. And I don't think Celtic do that. Celtic wouldn't go to Tynecastle and go break us down. Rangers
No,
don't mind doing that. We'll kind of just go there and go on.
we'll obviously try and attack because that's what we tend to try and do. Is
Aye,
try and attack.
but Rangers do it at home. Rangers will never do that. But away from home, I think Rangers don't mind. I mean, we went to
Mm.
Easter Road, got an early goal, and just went, that'll do.
Mm.
And I could see something similar, and maybe I could actually even see some red cards and Hearts maybe getting frustrated
Yeah,
at
well,
their inability to get their own way. And by the
we
way,
shall see.
we are due a dodgy decision going against Hearts, I have to say.
Well, I
Because
think we
not
are.
so much for Rangers, but considering we've had the Shankland basketball, we've had penalties that should be penalties, we've had a lot of decisions go their way,
Hmm.
and maybe Sunday's the day that a few go against them.
Well, I never
And
thought I'd say this, but as long as we win, Celtic, I'm talking about, as long as Celtic win, I don't mind
yeah,
Rangers beating Hearts, as long as we can win.
and by the way, it's gonna
I never
it's
thought
gonna
I'd say
set
that.
up a very fun festive period if
Hmm.
Rangers do win.
Yeah.
Because I think because let's be honest, the way you're looking at it is it brings everything closer together, and you don't mind that because you should think yourself, we can beat Rangers in a couple of weeks, and that keeps
Well,
them
I would rather
where.
keep
Do
it
you know what I mean?
like that so that we're in
But
touching
you'd rather
distance of getting there,
exactly because you don't want Hearts to get into a position where they start going 6, 9,
pulling away.
12 points clear, even
Then
with
it get
games in hand. Do
then
you
it
know what I mean?
becomes farcical.
Yep. And we could be getting to a point where we see a Scottish League season where neither old firm win a trophy. Imagine that.
That would be crazy.
I know. But when's the
Unheard
last time
of.
that happened?
I know.
Which I think
Unheard
80s?
of.
80?
Probably.
I'm trying to think.
Could be 40
I'm
year
going to
ago at
say,
least anyway.
because I know
80,
Aberdeen did a double.
84 maybe.
Aberdeen did a double in the about the mid 80s, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And because they beat Rangers in a cup final and they
Right, sure they beat
cantered
Celtic
the
as
league.
well. 1984 I'm
Uh,
saying that. I think it
yeah,
was.
so that's mad,
Uh,
isn't it? I mean, that's what, 40, at least
40,
exactly
40,
over
40
40
odd,
years.
40, 41 years, aye.
That's madness, isn't it?
Nearly
But
42.
I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but fair play to St Mirren. They got what they deserved the other day, and Celtic need to bounce back. But I don't know why I could see us doing a few more emergency pods before
You never
before the
know.
year's out, because
We'll just
there might be more
watch this space,
managerial
as they say.
sackings. Yep.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I'll let you go. Cool.
Right. Cool.
Right.
Right. Thanks, mate.
Right.
See you
Enjoy.
again.
Right. Bye
Right.
bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.